Welcome everybody to my weekday chess stream here on Lichess and Twitch. This is International Master William Paschall. Our handle on Lichess is Sparkle Horse. We are Slaggy or Slaggy on Twitch. However you like to pronounce it. It's a made-up word. Anyway, we're getting started here for the first time in about 11 days. I was away playing poker and back to focus on chess, thankfully. So, yesterday was my birthday, by the way. If you guys want to send me money in lieu of presents, I'll let you know my postal address shortly. But, no, seriously, yesterday was my birthday. I'm getting younger every year. I spent most of my birthday on the train from Prague to Budapest, so it wasn't exactly the most fun birthday I've ever had, but anyway, we've got a challenge already from Hunt the King. Basically, we're playing blitz and classical chess in my weekday stream. 5 to 8 minutes with a small increment. Hunt the King forgot the time control. He's challenging me to 3-8 instead of 8-3. Hunt the King, you want to re-challenge me to 8-3? 3-8, actually kind of interesting. I kind of like that. 3-8, why not? You know, 3-8. It's kind of a big increment, though. So, Hunt the King has gotten confused. It's been so long since I did a stream. He's challenging me to the inverse of my usual time control with the 3-8. It's not so bad, actually, 3-8. But the only 3 minutes I usually play is 3-0, and it's a little fast. I'm getting kind of old for that. I'm almost old enough for the senior championship now. Another birthday under my belt. In the old days, the World Senior was only 65 plus, but to include more people, they made it like 50 plus. So it won't be all that long until I can play in the World Senior Championship. This year's World Senior Championship was in Czech Republic as well, where I just came from, except it was in Marienbad or Mariansky Lázny, and was very well organized. Had a bunch of American players who I'm familiar with. They all did pretty well. I think America was well represented in the World Senior this year. Alexander Ivanov, I think, finished. I talk about him a lot here in the stream. He finished like tied for second or something. Anyway, let's get some challenges going. If not, I'm going to have to dig pretty deep into the. I'm going to have to go to the player pool. I haven't tried the new quick game. It's essentially like a pool system, so we can do that. You know, there's no reason why we can't go to the quick game, click a quick game. I'm not in love with the time controls. I guess they have 5-3. Let's click on the 5-3 pool and see what we get, guys. This is much easier than like handpicking my opponents. I'll wait like 2 minutes. I'd like you guys to challenge me, though. I'd like to play the people in the stream rather than just randoms. Guitar player, bro, what's up, man? My first stream back for like 11 days. I think it was on the 8th. I probably was streaming on the 8th, if I recall correctly. Yeah, the 5-3. Well, at this hour, I'm not sure. There's a lot of people in the quick game pools. Maybe 5-0 is more popular than 5-3. Aussie passes. Good morning. Good morning, all. Got no challenges. He's challenging me. All right, let's bail on this 5-3. We'll take the Aussie Passes challenge, 8-3. He's not inverting the time control. I don't know why Hunt the King didn't re-challenge me. I think he must have thought I didn't want to play. I like closed his challenge, but I didn't mean to like reject him completely. Just he was challenging me to the wrong time control. So welcome back, everybody. We're gonna be streaming this week. Today through Friday, and then it's Christmas holiday, and then probably back next week. Actually, the holidays work out well with the weekends and the schedule and stuff. So I think we've got really Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday holiday, and then like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it's like New Year's, and that's on the weekend too. So we might miss a Monday due to New Year's Eve hangover or something. Does that make sense? Actually, no. The holidays are like perfectly arranged on the weekend. So New Year's Eve is on a Saturday. It's so strange, and it's great. And then Monday is the 2nd. So I think that we can just stream straight up. I'm always, without changing the schedule at all for holidays. The holidays are just right on the weekends. I'm always playing G6 against A3. I think you played this against me earlier, Aussie Passes. It's kind of similar to like E4, C5, Knight F3, G6, H4, which Vladimir Akopian played against me. One of my shortest losses of all time. I mean, I extended the game like 17 moves, but I made a terrible blunder against Akopian. It was E4, C5, Knight F3, G6, H4, and I had a special variation. I had prepared in that position, but not deeply enough. It was like E5, Knight G4, which is a novelty. And Akopian plays D4 after a lot of thought, and I immediately made a blunder in that position. I have to play D6. But I hadn't thought through D4 too much, and I played Knight C6. He has this trap, like D5, Knight takes E5, Knight takes E5, Knight takes E5, and F4, my Knight is trapped on E5. I saw that, but my position was already bad. I hope you guys can follow what I was just talking about. If not, you can replay it. I always upload the streams. They're saved on Twitch, and I usually upload them to YouTube. So if you do miss something or I'm talking too fast, you can watch the replay. Alright, so yeah, this is a little bit awkward. It's a little bit awkward. H4. It doesn't fit with A3 though. That's my one argument. A3 is like a slow positional move, and H4 is like this ultra aggressive tactical kind of move. So I'm not sure that, it's apples and orange. I think it's apples and oranges. Basically. Last time I played H5. What if we just do like H6? Vasham Chess says, good to see you again. Rock and Eagle, he just said no. He's answering the question, is anyone in here? With the ironic favorite, no. The favorite of ironic people everywhere. Alright, Knight F3 now. Well, I like Bishop G7 against A3, So he's gonna, if he plays B4, he's gonna have to play the very strange, like, Knight C3 or Rook A2. By the way, I just came back from Prague European Poker Tour, and the last day I was there, day before yesterday, I played in the chess and poker tour. There's like a small chess and poker tournament, and again, as happened last year, I bubbled it. Last year I lost on a really bad beat, but this time it was just a flip with 5 players left. There were 18 players, 5 players left. I lost. Pocket nines, all in against ace king. If I win, then I'm like tied for the chip lead with 5 players left, and the flop was good, the turn was good, but the river was an ace, and I lost. So maybe next time. I won the chess part 5-0. There wasn't any real competition. Last year there was some strong players, a GM, another IM, a couple FMs. This year I had the tournament in the bag, but I did make a bad mistake in the last chess game against a 2000 player in the opening. Was lucky he didn't see it. So chess and poker, I don't know where I'm going to play another chess and poker tournament anytime soon. Maybe at the Isle of Man. If I go next year, they'll have chess and poker. I don't know if they still do or not. But ironically, during the chess and poker tournament, there was Grandmaster Konstantin Maslach was there, but he was playing in a deep stack PLO tournament or like a, I don't know, he was playing in another tournament at the same time, so he elected not to play in the chess tournament. So that was good, but didn't work out. E6, we're against the bishop on C4. I like this H6, kind of a standard, safe way of playing the position. Basically, white has a closed Sicilian type setup where he's played H4. And it's just not really good because it kind of weakens his position rather than really constructively helping. What was the buy-in? It was just 200. It was very small. There was this guy who was kind of a jerk, the guy I lost to. He was like really angry guy, and I was like, why is this guy so angry in a 200 buy-in? He was like first person I had met in 9 events who was really kind of nasty. Of course I like lose and bust out all my chips to him. The one nasty person I met in like 9 tournaments. D3 97. Yeah, 200 buy-in is not a lot, so it's kind of a fun tournament. Not meant to be that serious. That's why I was like a little surprised. This guy was so angry about somebody asking him how many chips he had or something. It was really strange. Anyway, so 200 buy-in poker chess tournament. It's just for fun. 3 prizes, which was not bad. Like if you make the money, you get like 700 euros. So it's more than a 3x profit. I was 5-handed when I busted out. I made a very aggressive play, but it was a good play. I could have sat there and tried to like squeeze into the money, but I've been doing that for 10 days, so I decided to play aggressively, and I lost. But it was a good play. I mean, as long as you're willing to, you're okay with busting out on a flip. I didn't make a bad play. We were 5-handed. We had to play a lot of hands, a lot of antes, a lot of blinds. So you can't play passively when it's like 5-handed and you're constantly paying the blinds. I was 3rd in chips when I busted out, so I could have technically tried to outweight the other short stacks. But I wanted to try to get a good stack, and I lost. All right, back to chess. So this position, Asipas is using a lot of time here. I prefer this position with white having a pawn on h3. This would be like pawn on h3, probably bishop f4, kind of hang out. There's no clear plan for white, but it's a position I've seen quite a bit. Yeah, bishop f4, he might have knight b5, so we've got to watch for that. Now there is a question here whether I should play d5. Generally speaking, I don't really like to just play like grab all the space you can in these kind of positions. You can play d5, you can play d4. It feels very macho to grab all that space. But I have a bishop on g7. I'm not sure I want to play d5, d4. And it's kind of tricky. Knight b5. I could play just d5. And then on bishop a2, maybe something like... Well, actually, if I play d5... he'll never be threatening knight b5 because of queen a5 check. So I probably have d5 here. But then what's the plan? If we do d5, what's the follow-up? I think that's the question. That way you never play against a bigger stack. What's that? Seen any snow crabs? Been a long time, man. It was a fun tournament. I was very disappointed I lose to this guy who behaved like a jerk. Like, it's very strange karma. Normally, I think that when you act like an idiot, you should be punished or something. This guy was rewarded. Snow crabs. Yeah, you haven't seen me since the summer too much, guitar player. Snow crabs. Where do snow crabs live? Alright, I'm a little concerned about this. If I play d6, he can play knight b5. It's like a catch-22. If I play a6, he can play bishop d6. That's kind of weird. It's a catch-22. I'm gonna make a decision by the time my clock reaches 2 minutes. One thing at the chess poker tournament, I was not playing chess for 10 days. It was weird to sit in front of the chessboard, and then I was slower than I'm always slow lately since I've been doing the stream, and constantly, playing with increment. I've been kind of, it's a luxury to play with increment, and I've been a little slow. We have to admit that I tend to get into time pressure too much here on the stream, and it is my biggest issue. I thought bishop d6 was interesting, but perhaps a tad risky. All right. So queen d2, he stops me from castling with that move. I don't think it's that big a deal. Mr. Sirawan would often play the English and do this kind of h3, h6 type thing, and not mind not being able to castle for a while. Actually, white has some issues too. I mean, white's going to castle kingside after playing h4. Normally, that's kind of dangerous. Yeah, g6 is... Well, Asi Passes was just chatting. I guess you guys can see it. I agree. I don't think h4 is... Well, h4 is not best. It's a very risky move. I was in a situation in the poker tournament where I only had 22 big blinds, and the other big stack was raising under the gun, and we're playing for 3 places. So I was in a situation where I had to push or fold with 9 big blinds. I mean 22 big blinds, pocket 9s. If my hand was any weaker, I would have folded. If it was any bigger, I would have always shoved 10s or something, but it was kind of a judgment call. I could have folded, but it felt really, really passive and like, I don't know. I didn't have any other options. It was really push or fold. So I've been squeezing in tournaments. I had 1 million min cashes in this poker festival, and I was kind of like, okay, let's take a chance. All right. So now d5. I'm wondering. Looks interesting. We could play d5 and c4 and kind of smash his bishop. Smash his bishop in. I'm just gonna play d6. There's really nothing for white to do. He doesn't have d4. He doesn't have e5. He doesn't have even knight e2. Bishop e3 was a bad move. He obviously should play bishop a2. There's no direct refutation, but it gets in the way of like the pawn on b2, and it's more exposed on b3. So I don't see the point. I don't see the point in playing bishop b3. We've got 3 challenges. Excuse me, guys. I have a kind of asthmatic cough. I've had this ongoing issue since I was Zalakarosh like a month ago. I'm not really sick, but cold air has an effect on me. G4. Yeah, this is totally crazy. Okay, he doesn't know what to do, but g4 doesn't really help. I don't think this helps. What should I do? That's the question. Can't play bishop d7, maybe queen d7, bishop e7. I like this kind of formation. I mean, you guys see me do this a lot in the English, like symmetrical English. Queen on d7, bishop on b7, double fianchetto. That way I can connect all the pieces, and yeah, I'm just gonna lock it up. Actually, his rook isn't protected. Maybe I should think about playing pawn takes pawn here. Kind of a tough call. Yeah, I'm gonna close it up. I could take, but I'm not that well, developed myself. So I'm happy to close the line. And what's he gonna do? Well, now he can castle kingside, but his position is still very strange. I mean, it looks very overextended for white. I don't think he's lost, but it's just really... It just looks like white is simply overextended. He no longer has the pressure on h6, so I can castle now. Yeah, g4, g5 is just not really good. Was e5 just winning a pawn? Yes. Well, maybe not. In which position? G4. Yeah, just winning a pawn. Yeah, I'm not very sharp tactically. Thank you, guitar player. It's an anti-positional move. I didn't want to consider it. I was blinded by the... oftentimes I miss simple tactics because I don't like, something strategically. Obviously playing e5 would block my bishop on g7, so I wasn't looking for it. g4 took me by complete surprise. It's an ugly move. So if I had a little more time, I would have found it, obviously, but sometimes we have a tendency to miss. We miss moves that we're not used to looking for, basically. My game is a little more strategic based than tactical. I'm pretty balanced, but I do tend to miss pretty obvious tactics now and then. This looks like a tremendous position here. We can take either way with the knight or the bishop. I like them both. I mean pawn. We'll gain a tempo here. But he's still alive. Massive space advantage. Killing his knight on d1. We've got discoveries, the c-file. He lost on time. He's not lost in this position, but it's uncomfortable for white. All right, first game back. Guitar player's back. Guitar player, you're supposed to challenge me to 7-3, but we'll let it go. All right. 2102. At least it's casual. Guys, don't challenge me to rated games. That's why I'm 2395. We got under 2400. We were surprised by somebody. I think Etatsoar last time got me with a secret rated challenge. I ended up losing on time because I didn't realize it was unrated. It was rated. Hunt the King. Okay, what are we talking about? So we're still talking about the last game. Stream looks good. Bishop f5 now. Try to play c4 when I can in these kind of positions. But actually, this is standard. I mean, a lot of people play c6 first. So guitar player with the move order here, some sort of move order trick. I can play queen b3, knight c6, queen takes b7, knight b4, and then not that clear to me. Knight a3 there, knight a3, and if rook b8, queen takes a7. Huh. Well, let's see. All right, I don't know. I mean, it's an unusual move order for black without c6. You guys are talking about blinded by the light, but there's sometimes we had glare problems. Not today. It's never sunny anymore. Welcome to my stream, guys. We're back. We're going to be streaming all week. Monday, actually Tuesday through Friday. And then Sunday is Christmas, I guess. You know, so Sunday is no simul this week for the holidays. But the following week, usually I do a simul on Sundays. Following week will be New Year's. So I guess we won't be having any simuls for 2 weeks. But after that, we'll continue with the simuls. After the holidays, we'll be doing blitz and classical chess during the weekdays. Never thought this reverse London thing could ever work. Well, as I said, usually c6 instead of e6. I'm not sure what the deal is with this. I just told him, you know, the main line I analyzed. He's following my exact variation. That's why I don't want to play rated games, by the way, guys. Because people, you know, have a big advantage with me telling them moves and stuff. So please don't be offended if I ask you to play rated, unrated games rather than rated. It looks kind of weird. I don't understand. I guess he's got some trick or something. Oh, it's some kind of draw by repetition. Holy crap. Maybe worse than that. Oh, I see. So he's got this sacrifice all prepared. Interesting. I don't know if I have any kind of compensation here. Very strange thing just happened. Cheat detected. I didn't see this in advance, of course. It's a new feature of Lichess, I suppose, detecting cheaters. Okay, pawn spanker's up. I guess black is winning in that position with rook takes a3. Knight f3, knight f6, c4. Yeah, obviously I didn't see that theme before. Rook takes a3. Okay, white side of a king's Indian. We could play maybe g3. I've been trying to play g3 a little bit, but usually by transposition. Mostly I'm playing like the English opening, and getting into these positions like by a different order of moves. Well, it's good that Lichess is on the ball with cheater detection. I certainly didn't see this concept of playing like rook takes a3. I was busy looking at other moves like c6. I think if he plays c6 instead of... Well, I guess if he plays c6 instead of rook b8, I guess it's a draw by repetition. But his knight is on b4. Actually, that doesn't work. The problem with c6 is that I can play knight e5, threatening mate on f7. So his variation is the only move, actually. But anyway, guys, best not to Best not to cheat here on any chess site. H3, I think this is probably less common than E4, but anyway, guys, we are playing time controls between 5 and 8 minutes with a small increment. So if you'd like to play, please challenge me to anything between 5 and 8 minutes. With the longer time controls, like 7 or 8 minutes, you can make the increment shorter, like 3 seconds. I don't play 2-second increments, so this time control, the last game wasn't good. 7-2 is too fast. Should be 7-3. If it's 5 minutes, then we can make it like a 5-second increment. This is mainline. Kasparov, I think, has played Queen B6. I've played Queen B6 for both sides of this position. It's maybe not trendy now, I don't know, but like 20 years ago, this was like all the rage. Let's see who we have challenges from. Hunter King, Kyrgios, Liberian. These guys are all regulars. Okay. All you guys that are regulars, I really appreciate you guys coming back. For those of you who are new, we might pick up some new viewers. You're also very, very welcome. Excuse me if I cough or something. As I said, I've got a kind of asthmatic thing going on. From the cold air, and sometimes I'm on the verge of losing my voice, but I'll try not to cough into the mic. So Queen B6 C5, this is a really, really sharp line that my theory is not up to date, but you know, back in the late 90s, I worked on this a lot. I was hanging out with friend of mine, Jorge Zamora Hasbun, and the artist formerly known as Jorge Zamora. He's an international master from Providence, Rhode Island, also one of the best blitz players in the world, or at least he used to be. And we worked a lot on this. We worked a lot on this particular variation together. So let me see if I can channel some of that old analysis. I think this particular variation, Jorge and I spent hours analyzing. Since I kind of gave up playing this for both sides, I think at the time we were analyzing it more from White's perspective than from Black's perspective. It seems like White gets the initiative. Kasparov tried to defend it for Black, but it's kind of an uphill battle. Nowadays, like, you see more knight c6 type of lines. So e6, where our moderator is, our normal moderator, normal meaning like Jeroen, who's usually here. I was just messaging him the other day about what was going on with my poker results. But he was not here very much in the last week when I was streaming, so I hope he's okay. So I don't know what we call this variation. But it's we had like a ECO monograph, Encyclopedia of Chess Openings monograph about just this variation. I don't remember who it was by. Maybe like an encyclopedic edition. I don't remember who it was by. It might have been like Michal or some very strong GM. Just a lot of analysis, no words, symbols and analysis. Like a really thick pamphlet that Jorge and I had basically gone over every line and highlighted everything. But that's been 20 years ago. And this is a very, very dangerous variation for black. It's hard to coordinate. 95 is probably main line. Pawn Spanker, not known for playing like mainline theory. He's usually making up weird openings and stuff like that. Well, I don't think that anybody's being flagged for cheating because they played 9 perfect moves. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's some experimental new technique. Maybe they opened 2 boards, and I have no idea how the cheating detection works here. I will inquire about it. But H6, now this I don't recall. That's strange. I mean, usually knight f7, knight takes f7, bishop d4 check. What's the deal with this? Knight f3? I guess I'm supposed to take. Take. Strange. Kind of strange. A pawn spanker. I think bishop takes f1 should be considered. But I'm really not sure what the best move is for certain. Hurtin for certain. Does queen takes have any point? Not really. I mean, it would threaten f7, but he's taking on g5 anyway. Pawn spanker, I don't know. Maybe you know more theory than I do. It's been 20 years since I looked at this. Actually, I can't drop the b2 pawn here. I can't afford to lose that, so we've got to make some kind of queen g4, I guess. Pretty complicated, but the black king is a little bit open. Where is Wernicke's here? Alright, we got to get the king out of danger. G2. Yeah, online cheating is a big issue. The people who like not to talk about it are like climate change denialists. It's kind of in the same category. Alright, so it looks like his king is the issue. That's the usual story, and also the congested development on the queen side is a chronic problem in this variation. Queen f6 drops a piece. Otherwise it would be a good move. I'm not joking. I mean, that's the move you should want to play there. I was actually concerned about it until I realized it drops a piece. But, alright, pawn spanker. You got me off guard there. I don't know what h6 is about. I'm not sure if I played the best in that situation. No, but I honestly haven't been, I've been suspicious of Guitar Player for a long time. We've had issues before, so I'm not going to comment on it further, but I'm not surprised, honestly. His play was highly suspicious many times. And I really on the fence about it, but an issue came up earlier once before. So he's not a regular who I trust here. It's a situation where I'm going to abort this game because the time control Hunt the King has challenged me to 3-8 again. I was very suspicious of Guitar Player before, so it's not a regular like the rest of you guys. I feel very good about Kyriakos, Pez, Liberian. I know you guys are honest, but Guitar Player's played a lot of strange games against me. No, I'm not surprised to see him flagged as a cheater, honestly. I was suspicious of him totally independently of Lichess and Ornikar. I mean, I actually feel kind of justified. I don't like to make accusations, so I kind of let things go for too long. But there was one other time in the late summer, or when I was pretty convinced he was cheating. But he was very careful about it. He would lose on purpose, I think. Anyway, let's just put it behind us. Whatever. Intelligent cheating. But it's not just a regular who I trusted here like most of you guys. Bishop e2. Well, I'm not going to be the court and the punish and the executioner, you know. But I have my suspicions about certain players. Most of you guys are clean. But we've had our incidences, and you can't ignore cheating in online chess. I mean, this is the whole reason why we can't have chess tournaments. It's a really sad situation. Anyway, Ornikar, good to see you on the ball, and best wishes for the holidays. And I was thinking about you. I hadn't seen you on the stream. I'm sure you're busy with the site and whatnot, but good to see you working here on Lichess. Bishop f4 right away. This is an interesting move. Probably will transpose to some kind of quote-unquote normal Benoni. I could try knight h5. This is not a position I play a lot, though. Most people, when I play c5, they just tend to go into Marazzi, and then I get like, I do kind of play the Benko, the bad kind of bad Benko with b5 sometimes, but just to the spur of the moment, I decided to play e6. Roman Gigiashvili used to play like stuff with knight a6 and knight c7, and I don't really have that option. I don't think with the bishop on f4. maybe e takes d4 is interesting too. I'm not sure here though. I mean, rook e8 and then knight d2, and he's got the bishop stopping me from playing knight h5. Am I supposed to play b5 here? Feels like I should play b5. What would the late Gashimov do? Anyway, I don't want to spend the whole stream talking about computer cheaters. I know that it's kind of monotonous, but by the same token, we're not going to sit by and ignore it completely. Obviously, one of our opponents got flagged as a cheater. I'm not going to turn the other way and say, well, nothing just happened, you know. That's it. It happened. Was a person I suspected of cheating, so I'm kind of like, well, what can I say, you know? It's probably true. If it was somebody that I totally didn't suspect, I would be like defending them, you know, but I can't in this case. Public shaming. Bishop takes b5. Here we go. I hope this is good. Kind of typical Benoni theme. I think we need a new moderator. If anybody wants to apply for the job. It's very, very loose requirements. Just have to be here for most streams to help out. Unfortunately, I can't offer any salary at this time. Maybe down the road. Actually, my normal moderator is Yeroen KK, but he's not here today. We have Mubot to help out. Happy belated birthday. Thank you, man. Thank you. We have our first birthday wishes. Yesterday was my birthday. I spent most of my birthday on the train, which isn't very fun. Chess Motion said, I hope this is good. Me every game. My Lichess username is offensive. It's a good idea, you know. That way you have to make a new one. Alright, so queen c2. The problem with offensive is like it's all relative. Ultimately, it's a judgment call. Queen c2. What's offensive to one person may not be offensive to another person, but they have to draw the line somewhere. Queen c2 is not what I expected. White's king is still in the center. This position is quite open. Well, obviously we just take and play queen a5. I mean, I don't think there's any question. There's also bishop f5 coming at some point. Yeah, I guess we're just winning. I mean, queen takes c3 check. I suppose there's some positions where he might be able to give up an exchange and have like a really good dark squared bishop. But I think that Kyrgios wasn't, he's not maybe prepared for this particular. Maybe he has a different line against the Benoni, is what I'm saying. He is drawn into a Benoni where it's not his normal setup, so he was a little bit unfamiliar. I mean, I can't decide if people are cheaters or not. All I can do is have like an intuition that tells me I feel like this guy is cheating, but I'm not sure, That's how I've always been about guitar player. But he was very smart about it. He wouldn't show off. He would like draw some games. He would like purposely lose so as not to look suspicious. There was one stream where I got kind of angry, and then he didn't come for a while. So without coming out and directly accusing him of being a cheater, I was very upset. And he didn't show up for a long time after that. And this is like maybe the second time he's been back since that happened. But, it was to the point where I was really pretty sure, like 95.9% sure, But I'm not, nobody can be 100% sure. I mean, it's not really physically possible. Crazy 8+3. There's some people who cheat against you and they're like trying to show you up. And then it's easy, it's pretty easy. But when they're doing things to hide it, by like not winning games, not trying to look like a show off, just they want to look like they're a master when they're really not. That's kind of where I was at with him. I once came out and said it like, basically I don't understand how your blitz rating is like 1700, but you're playing like 2200 in standard chess. That doesn't add up. And Guifrag says, when do I stream poker? I'm not streaming poker at this time. I'm a poker player, and I had thought about streaming poker, but I'm not really playing online poker, and although I did full time for a long time, it's not out of the question somewhere down the line, but at this time I'm just focusing on chess. We just came back from EPT Prague. I'm playing live poker, but I'm kind of disenchanted with online poker, so that's another story. Anyway, this is one of my games from EPT Prague. No, that was different. We had a chess tournament at EPT Prague, a little buy-in. We were talking about it earlier. $200 chess and poker tournament, €200. Actually, the guy played differently. He played D3 right away against me. D3 is an interesting move order. Not to play knight F3 right away, and then maybe sometimes you can play bishop takes C6. But this is perfectly normal. This is the most common move order for white. The rook B1 is early. It looks like totally viable. I could play maybe... You can't play B6 because of knight E5 actually, but Queen D7 is my usual recipe here. I'm not sure if it's good now. Play Queen D7, A3, B6. He's very quickly playing A3, B4. I could play bishop F5 and use that kind of setup. You have 1400 in bullet and you're 2100 classical. Well, it depends. I would say that it sounds suspicious. Why would you be 14? No, I mean, bullet isn't so bad. I mean, I don't even play bullet. I would say if you're 1400 in blitz and you're 2100 in classical, I would really would raise major red flags. But bullet is different. I mean, no, this is... maybe you play bullet with a touchpad or you just can't move the pieces that fast. I don't think that bullet should be a category that we really necessarily judge people by. But you have two rating categories or time control categories like blitz and classical. If blitz and classical are too far apart, then I would be really suspicious. I don't think that bullet I think there's a lot of 70-year-old masters who obviously can't play bullet. So although 1400 is a little low. I mean, why would you be 1400? Isn't that a little bit like anybody could be, and who's 2100 in classical chess could theoretically be like 1800 in bullet, I would think. But I'm not going to judge people by the bullet rating in general. 1800 bullet and 1700 classical. I mean, I'm not going to make like any kind of real judgments based on bullet. But it's blitz. I'm talking about blitz and classical. Maybe I said bullet by accident before. I'm not sure. But I meant blitz. Basically, the Lichess ratings are a little inflated in classical at the lower rating levels. So we have to take that in consideration. I'm not sure why that is. Because like in my case, my blitz is higher than my classical. But okay, so he's letting me play bishop h3. He could have played h3 there. I think h3 is more testing, but he wasn't comfortable maybe leaving his king in the center. But e4 is not a bad move. And once I trade off the white squared bishop, I kind of agree with the plan of playing for this white square pawn structure for white. Obviously, black could play any number of ways here. I mean, h5 looks kind of reckless. It's not out of the question, though. I saw Miso Cebalo, very, very famous Yugoslav grandmaster. I mean, he's Croatian, but he's from the old school. Played that way in a similar position. It's kind of coffee house style, though. Chess Motion said I wouldn't spend all my time on it. It's a completely different game. Yeah, I mean, bullet is bullet. It's like hyper turbo poker tournaments. I don't know. It's fun, but it's good for improving your tactics, and it's possibly good for. I would really think that's the only thing it's good for. I mean, you could argue that even for practicing your openings, but honestly, how many players are really capable of like testing your opening repertoire in bullet chess? I think that blitz is okay for opening preparation, but when we're talking about bullet, the only thing that it's good for is tactics and mouse skills. Maybe you want to make your blitz game faster. You can improve your speed in blitz by playing more bullet. But the only chessic way, or the only benefit that bullet has like for chess play is in tactics, probably. Is your opponent allowed to play with your captured pieces during a game? Are you serious about this, like as a question for like tournament play? Basically, everybody keeps their pieces on their side of the board, so that would be strange. I don't think I've ever had anyone like reach across the board and take the captured pieces before. That's a good question. Funniest thing I ever saw about captured pieces was, I guess there was some bad blood between Emil Sutovsky and Nigel Short once at the Isle of Man on the stage. And I'm not really a big fan of Nigel Short. He seems very arrogant to me. And, I mean, some people like him. I guess he's funny and whatnot, but he is kind of arrogant. So I was kind of amused when Sutovsky didn't like him at all. And Sutovsky was just like, they were playing on the stage, and there was big tables, and there's a big drop-off on the table, and he was like, when he captured Short's pieces, he wasn't like putting them on the side of the table. He was just dropping them off the side of the table. It was kind of amusing. It was pretty immature, but also kind of an original. It was an original kind of way of trolling Short, showing your disrespect, dropping the pieces off the side of the table. It's kind of funny. Nowadays, I guess Satowski is like the president of the Players Chess Association, or what is it, Grandmaster? I'm really dating myself. Grandmaster Chess Association, or whatever. Association of Chess Professionals. Excuse me. But as far as funny business with captured pieces, that's the best story I could come up with. Wow, crazy. H4. That's a little weird here. I mean, having traded off your white squared bishop around your king. But, you know, he might be able to use the H-file, King's Indian attack style. Thinking about H6, obviously. Well, I don't really, you know, click on people's links, and I don't think anybody should. So I can't verify if people are pornographically posting pictures. I don't recommend that you ever click on any links posted in the Twitch stream. You know, you do so at your own risk. But thanks for letting me know. So, yeah, I mean, I already banned the other guy, probably the same guy, a few minutes ago with a different account. Unfortunately, for some reason, some really strange people gravitate to chess, and I have one perverted person and another like neo-Nazi who seem to be really, really drawn to my chess stream for some reason. So we have to kind of just live with it. I think it's the same dudes, like, coming back again and again and again and again. But unfortunately, like, as much as I report them, Twitch can't, like, ban people's ISPs, I don't think. Or they don't, you know, so I can just keep reporting these accounts, but they just keep making more. So we just have to kind of deal with it. Disable links. Yeah, I can disable the links, but I didn't really want to do that because there's some legitimate people, including myself, who might post legitimate links. So that's a dramatic step that I don't really want to have to take. Annoying when people tap the pieces. Listen, I was just playing in a tournament 3 weeks ago. Yeah, and there was this guy who like had he had no concept of like etiquette at the board. He was doing like 7 annoying things, and one of them was playing with his pieces like when it's your time, like twirling the pieces like in your face, like on the other side of the board. And this is not a kid. I mean, I could see if it was like a kid who was like at his first tournament or something. But for a middle-aged adult who'd played many tournaments before, you gotta start to think that this person is doing this behavior because they want to be annoying. There is the possibility with this particular guy, though, that he was just that ignorant. You know, that there are people that are just completely ignorant. I guess if you play chess in a cafe, that's what I equated it to. People who play chess like cafe style for fun, non-rated chess, then you know, you can do what you want. I spent years playing chess in a cafe basically for money. You know, you expect everything, you know, there. It's not a rated tournament, so I can live with it, but yeah, don't do things to like annoy the other person, like twirling your pieces around at the board. Crazy's playing really well this game. I mean, he's played some really crazy and irrational chess before against me, but this is the most like correct kind of positional game I've seen from him. H4 was sort of ambitious, but not without some sort of basis. It looks like though we've got his king popped out on f3. I mean, that looks... I know we're saying crazy too much here, but I mean, we've got a lot of possibilities. d5 opening it up. I don't see anything direct with e5. I mean, you can play like e5, bishop e3, queen h3 doesn't do anything. f5, king g2 probably. So I'm just going to try to open the position here. Yeah, there's definitely, believe me, I mean, I studied psychology. I know about anxiety disorders. There's a million reasons why they might be twirling the pieces. Maybe they're just exactly anxious. You can tell, though. I mean, you can obviously see the difference between somebody who's anxious or not, somebody who's ignorant or not, somebody who's doing it on purpose. Like, you know, if they were like staring in my eyes and twirling the pieces, you would know they're like kind of doing it to piss you off. If they're oblivious and doing it, they're probably nervous or kind of ignorant. But those people, you could simply ask them politely not to do it. A lot of people are coming over from like online chess to maybe like live chess. And I think those people don't know the etiquette of over the board. Especially, well, it's not really especially, but you see it a lot with like maybe, you know, young adults or teenagers, more so than like middle-aged people. They just don't really have a sense for, you know, what the etiquette is supposed to be. Rook d1. Wow. I can go d4. Queen b7. It's a handy-dandy fianchetto for the queen. Chess motion. I tend to play like a monster during exams. Wernicke confirmed Guitar was cheating, but his account hasn't been flagged. That is kind of weird. Well, obviously, maybe it's a new function, and Wernicke hasn't really finished the code for automatically flagging people. Or maybe, like, if it's an unrated game, you're not flagged? Good question. Actually, Wernicke, I guess he's not here anymore, but we'll have to ask him. I will try to confirm that with him, because that's important to know. Why is a person who has been accused of being a cheater or flagged as a cheater not flagged on their account? Could it be the unrated factor? What do I do here? Well, what's to do? I have to take, unfortunately. Won a pawn, but crazy's so fast. No forced wins. I have an idea. It's like, what does the Grinch say? In The Grinch Is Stole Christmas? Does anybody remember that line? The Grinch is like, I have an idea. A wonderful, nasty idea, or something like that. That's what we got here. This Grinch-like idea with c4. I thought we'd have a like holiday comment for Christmas coming up. King Crusher will take care of them. Where am I going here? I would hope that Crazy's bullet rating would be in parallel with his other ratings. Look how he's putting me in time pressure constantly. He is look pretty consistent. 17, 16, they're all pretty close. Constantly feel like I'm in time pressure when I play this particular player. Excuse me, guys. Okay, thanks for the game, Crazy. Hunt the King finally got it right with 8+3. Itatsura with 7-5. That's the thing. If you guys want to play a longer game, like normally, 8-3 is the maximum. I'll let the 7-5 go, and Diovin is 8-3. Yeah, 7-5 is acceptable. 8-3, 7-5, and 8-3. Diovin. I don't know if I played them before. I have once. Okay. Hunt the King. King Crusher. Yeah, he's hunting down computer cheaters. Alright. Well, we've played a million games. Hunt the King always plays the English. I'm getting kind of bored. We've already faced English once today. Hunt the King plays it all the time. So I want to try something different. We don't normally play a lot of reverse Sicilians, but sometimes I play the reverse Grand Prix attack. Let's just play like a normal kind of maybe 4 Knights English or something like that. I basically played in my career almost everything against the English. Ornikar is still here. If he does it again, the game will be terminated again. It's a warning. Probably won't try it again. Yeah, but I think it's a good point, Ornikar. Why is his account not flagged? Because it's not a rated game? Like, if it's unrated, they just get warnings? Is that the point? Just to clarify. My mouse sounds like you need a new one for Christmas. Actually, I do. But why does it sound... It's just a loud mouse. Yeah, I am planning on buying a new mouse. We have funds from the donations. It's a good idea. Bishop G2. It's pretty loud, I admit. I'm kind of used to it, but it is loud, and it does occasionally cause me to lose on time. But I kind of like have this old telephone. I feel bad about like replacing something that's not broke, you know? It's like I don't run out and buy the new technology every time. You know the old saying, like, if it's not broke, then don't fix it? I'm kind of stingy like that. I mean, I could have like 5,000 euros in my pocket and then like a really old phone to go along with it. Because I just don't believe in like throwing away stuff that works. But you are right, it is a bit loud. Okay, so E4 is the Kasparov-Karpov stuff. But I never played that line with black. I've been, years ago I used to play this with Rook E8. I'll just keep the mouse further away from the mic so you guys... When I'm making videos and stuff, I'm very conscious about it, but you're the first person that actually mentioned it on the live stream, so I will keep the mouse at bay. It is pretty crunchy sounding. A3. Not normal here. There's a bunch of moves that white has in this position, if I recall correctly. Knight E1. I played this position with white a lot myself. D3. D3 is not so dangerous. Played it against Anthony Sadie in a blitz tournament once. D3, bishop takes C3, B takes C3, E4. Knight D5 is one of the main lines. And black usually plays like bishop F8, I think. But A3 kind of helps black. I mean, this is a Rossalimo with colors reversed. And the bad bishop on C1. Semi-bad bishop. I've got two knights in a kind of closed structure. What we don't want white to do is to be able to play E4. Yeah, I mean, some of us are very sensitive. But maybe I haven't streamed in like 11 days, so I'm not used to using this mouse, honestly. I have another machine that I travel with, and it's a smaller mouse, so it's a little weird for me too. Maybe I'm even like pressing it differently than I'm used to. Okay, so strong knight on d4. My instinct here is to just play d6. If white chooses to capture on c6, okay, the problem is white's preparing to play d3. So we play d6, and the move a3 is the question. You know, it's kind of a waste of time for white. It also takes away the idea of bishop a3, which maybe doesn't look that relevant, but it happens sometimes. But he has to try to break my center. I guess there are other ways I could play the position. I could probably just trade knights on d4 and play d5. It would really simplify things, though, and I don't think that would be necessarily better for me. I don't want to play 1 minute bullet. I mean, I don't know. If I practiced for 6 months, I probably could take out a lot of players, but bullet is something that you need to do. I don't know. Like many years ago, I used to play bullet, but that's something that you need to practice. I think I could probably get close to my level in bullet if I put in the time again. But I've never been particularly mouse skillful, even when I was young. I mean, if we go back to like 1995 or something, when I first started playing seriously like Blitz online, I was never skilled with the mouse like some people. Okay, so now we've got bishop g5. That's the bad bishop. The badder bishop. The worst one. We don't really want him to do that, you know, to get control of e4. So h6, I think, pretty standard. Slight weakness, but it's a pretty standard idea in this kind of position to stop bishop g5. To make this piece like a problem piece. Roman Gingiashvili and I talked a lot about like the Grand Prix attack, and the same thing is happening in the Grand Prix attack. We're basically playing against that piece. In this situation, it's not like he's played e3, you know, and it's like an awful piece that has almost no future. You see that kind of thing in the Nimzo Indian, sometimes in the Grand Prix attack and the Rasalimo, but at least here it doesn't really have a good place to go, but it's still like could become a fairly valid, useful piece. So, just to update you guys, we're going to be streaming Tuesday, that's today, through Friday, Blitz and Classical Chess here. And I upload all the streams to my YouTube channel, Video Chess Training on YouTube. Hopefully now we can get back to business. I was away playing poker for 10 days. But now we're back focusing on chess, and for the foreseeable future, bishop e3. Well, he can play knight takes c6, and Knight takes c6 and bishop e3, bishop d4. I think we're going to maneuver here, playing on the c4 pawn, avoiding exchanges. There's a concept I kind of invented, or at least like in name. I call this like one square position. So basically, like, he's got all these pieces that they all want to use the same square, and it causes some disruption in his coordination. So although he has this really strong knight on d4, it's kind of ironic because, you know, it's a paradox. He's got other pieces that are actually obstructed by it. This happens a lot when you have like an isolated pawn and you're blockading it, and all your pieces are like build up behind that on that blockade square. It's great that he has a strong knight, but at the same time it's interfering with some other pieces like the bishop on e3, maybe the queen. So I'm going to play this game like we're letting him have this great piece on d4, but we're going to play around it, basically. We're just going to like accept it. It's like a Sveshnikov where white has a knight on d5. We give him, he's got that one really good piece. We're going to live with it, and then, you know, try to play around it, basically. Hyper chess. We don't call it bullet, we call it hyper chess. I live in Hungary. It's not far. To travel to Prague, it's 6.5 hours by train. I would fly, but the Czech Airlines has a monopoly on it's like a state airline, and they have very like bad non-competitive prices, so I don't want to pay them, you know, like an overinflated price. I'd rather like, it's like, do you want to pay like 50 euros to take the train, or 300 euros to fly there? It's like 2 hours longer to take the train. I mean, I'm basically like making like 115 euros an hour by sitting on the train. So I'll do it. I spent most of my birthday sitting on the train yesterday, but it was a principled decision. They also don't refund your tickets if you want to change. Czech Airlines is not cool. Anyway, rook b1. Yeah. Now I can't play rook b8. Definitely a minorly awkward moment here. Kind of state of, what are we doing? I don't want to take on d3 and fix this tension, you know, release the tension in a favorable way for white. I could play bishop g4. Bishop g4 could get very complicated after something like pawn takes pawn, knight takes, bishop c1. I can't move my bishop. I can't play rook b8. c5 is very anti-positional. Maybe a6. Just a waiting move. Taking away the b5 square, potentially, if I want to play like c5. Oh, hyper is a real thing in chess. Okay, I thought we were drawing like a poker chess parallel between hyper turbos and bullet chess. $15, if you, okay, yeah, of course, hyper is, I forgot. I never played bullet, so I'm like, not thinking about hyper bullet. Knight c2. Nah, this looks pretty good for black. But he's got everything protected. I guess we take bishop g4. and queen c8. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is best. Take bishop g4, f3. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, if he plays f3, we probably have bishop f5. I'll probably... There are other moves I could play. I could play bishop f5 straight away. But that allows... Actually, what am I doing here? Bishop... Yeah, bishop g4. I don't see a better line. The idea of f3, bishop f5, or queen d2, knight f3 check. My bishop c8 is possible. It's really pretty passive. I think he's just falling apart now. No time to take the pawn on b7. What else could he have done? Well, he could take the pawn on b7 here. That's what I expected. I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, I think my structure is just better. I'm just better. Maybe not winning. Now he's losing a piece, which is the best way. Taking on e3, probably. Can he trap this piece? Probably not. If you guys are interested or like to watch Bullet, then you came to the wrong place. My stream is basically for longer games. You may be surprised that it's like move 14 and we're already like in time pressure, but that's how it usually goes down. Etat Soar, he's given me some really tough games. I'm thinking, what does he play with black? I forgot now. King's Indian. There was some kind of King's Indian. He beat me with white last time. I lost on time. That was the game when I lost on time and lost all my rating points. Is it rated? No. Okay. He said he wouldn't do it again. I'm going to play e4. I haven't played e4 today. My native opening is really like... Well, knight f3 or d4 or c4 are more... Like, I've played way more games with flank openings and queen pawn than e4, but I do play e4 too, and I always have since... I mean, honestly, I started playing chess in tournaments around 1986, 87, and I didn't really play e4 ever until probably around 1990 when I was a master. So I'm trying to think about it now. I mean, there may have been a few games where I messed around with e4, but I didn't seriously start playing e4 till I was already like at least a USCF master. Okay, e5. So e4 is not as native. I don't feel quite as at home when I'm playing e4, but I do know quite a bit. Okay, so the Kalashnikov. Your stream is really awesome. I'm surprised that the guy spent all of his time to make 13 moves. It's very, very hard to, in my opinion, I'll try to explain what my feelings are about it. It's very, very hard to figure out how to balance your time in this kind of time control. That's why you see a lot of people, including myself, get in time pressure. It's not rapid chess and it's not blitz. And you have this feeling that you're like, you have time, and with the increment, so it's kind of a tricky time control. That's where I'm kind of where I'm at with this. The Lowenthal, man. And last time I played this, I don't remember if it was against the Tatsuar or someone else. I played, I think, Queen D2. The problem is that Queen C7 is the main line, and I don't know the theory. I had a very old book with a really old, out-of-date analysis that I used to read. That's the basis of what I remember. Did I play Queen D2 last time, or did I play Queen D1? Actually, now I can't recall. I think Queen D1 is actually like the #1 move in terms of, and Queen A3 is another line, but I think Queen D1 is the most popular when I checked the database the last time. But Queen C7 is supposed to be theoretically the strongest. Oh man, what is the deal with this? I have to play F3, right? And then there's some pawn sacrifice. I can't remember how the last game went down at all. H4? Knight takes E4. Knight D5. Could be some kind of pawn sacrifice. Looks kind of interesting. We had something similar to that with somebody else. F3 D5 I think is main line, but it doesn't feel very attractive. F3 D5. Knight takes D5. Knight takes D5. Pawn takes D5. Like Knight D4, Bishop D3, Bishop F. It doesn't look good, great. Let's try something original. H4. Just bad time management? Yeah, but you have to consider here that there's an increment. So there are a lot of specialists, man. I mean, there's a definite there's a school of thought that's kind of like, use all your time and then just play blitz with the rest of it. I mean, I've got a 5-second increment. I mean, that's enough to play the game alone there. So I'm not sure that it's not sound to just use your time and play 5-second increment blitz 0-5 with the rest of it. Get as good a position as you can get. Use the time you wanted, and then just, you know, play 0-5 for the rest of the game. It's a way of dealing with the time control. But I guess you should balance. You should use better time management and save the time. We had a similar game, so it was with the Tatsuar. I forgot. Yeah, I can trade knights here too. There might be a game. Knight takes E4, Queen takes E4, Bishop E2, Queen takes G2, Bishop F3. H5 is interesting. I think that's how it went down last time. Well, let me check this. H5, Queen F5. Knight takes E4, Queen takes E4. I think this is a game. There was a game in the database where white has like compensation. But I'm not seeing how this variation works. h5, queen f5, knight takes e4, queen takes e4, bishop e2. If queen takes g2, bishop f3, his queen is trapped. But after bishop e2, he has this nasty... He has the nasty move, like knight d4. I have no answer to that. So that can't be right. But I think knight d5 looks interesting. Though there, I mean, knight d5, queen f5, bishop e3. You can play this positional pawn sacrifice for ownership of the d5 square. 2 bishops, some attacking chances with the h pawn. But I'm not sure if it's good or not. Very kind of tactical. I have bishop e3. This also stops knight b4. Last time, I don't know, I think I played a different move in a very similar position. Okay, queen d6 defends against knight c7 check, but his position looks kind of a tiny bit awkward. But, right. Alright, well, anyway, it's time to develop. I want to guard f2. There's obviously a weakness on b6. We have compensation, you know. 2 bishops, backwardness along the d file. He can't develop his queenside pieces so easily. That's kind of main line I expected. Well, I guess knight b6. There are other moves I could play. Maybe bishop c4. Or just take on f6. Taking on f6 is interesting. The idea of bishop c5. Alright, it's a judgment call. I don't know what the best move is. There are several good moves. But I mean, I have very, very good development here. He's pretty much paralyzed. Bishop there. Doesn't really work. f3. There's some tricks he has in this position. Tricks. And he's got an incredible time advantage. So d5 just gives the pawn back. All right. At least he unraveled his pieces now. Threatening, like, it's equal. Although he could drift. He might be able to drift. He's playing fast. A bit too fast. But I think he's still always equal here. Really pretty good game. He's playing, I think, extremely well. I don't really want to trade my bishop for knight on d4, obviously. The theoretical advantage of the two bishops could become relevant. But at the moment, his knight is so strong, it's worth at least a bishop. It's obviously impossible for me to play c3 without significantly weakening my position on the knight b3 check type of stuff. Maybe I could live with it, though. Maybe that's what I'm going to have to do. Like, play c3 and deal with it. I never really study this opening very much. Can we do c3 check there? Rook takes rook. It's pretty awkward. Man, I don't know. It's probably a draw. Well, it's not so easy, actually. I shouldn't play king b1 there. You know, now I can torture him. You know, now we might be slightly better. We might be slightly better. It's probably not enough to win. Grabbing the pawn on h7 might have been possible there. My weaknesses here are pretty significant. That's the problem. Man, he's playing well. He just got compensation for the bishop pair with this stupid weaknesses on the queen side. It's just enough to balance my bishop pair. I can't, like, do anything, really. And this is probably a weak move by me. Four-minute time advantage. Last time I lost on time against him, in like a fairly drawn position. Now I blundered. That's good. Wow. He had just bishop takes f3. Black might be better now, with the king on e6. But if I'm going to hang pawns, I'm just going to offer a draw. I'm obviously flustered here. Yeah, I just have to accept that I'm not better. I mean, I'm starting to go into like total panic mode at this point. I mean, I'm just hanging a pawn on f3. Crazy. He's completely equalized. So I just have to reset myself and say, okay, before I hung the pawn, I should have offered a draw, because at this point I don't have, you know, any real serious winning chances. I thought that somehow on my bishop pair I can't mobilize my queenside majority, because I had to play a3. You know, if I had a pawn on a2, I could play b3. We could maybe win this game. But if I can't get my queenside majority moving, without tragically creating more weaknesses, like b4 weakens the white squares even more. It just looks like a blockade. I don't think we can win. Yeah, he didn't take the hanging pawn. So good game for you. Not as so much for me. It was interesting though. I think the opening was better for white, but you solved your problems. It's an interesting pawn sacrifice. I like my position after knight to d5. But my follow-up wasn't good enough. I have to find something better in the later stage of the opening there. I thought knight b6, but after d5 you equalized. So Diovin is 2100 player 2. This is casual. It's Neo Grunfeld. I haven't played Lance. Knight takes c3, unprovoked. Well, I mean, we have to take toward the center. There are some endgames. Edmar Medness from the opening to the endgame type position. After d takes c, it is possible that white could try to get an advantage against an inexperienced player with that sort of ending, but that's not really it's not really like considered dangerous. Guys, this is my first stream back and the first blitz I've played in 11 days, so please be a little bit forgiving if I make some mistakes. e4, bishop g7. Yeah, it's an unusual move order, but there's nothing white can really do to exploit this. You can try to play bishop c4 or something. I'm just going to transpose back into the Grunfeld. Ulf would disagree. You have to take toward the center. Ulf would like the endgame. Yeah, well, Ulf, he's an endgame specialist. Ulf also plays the Lowenthal, ironically. But Ulf had a weird way of playing the Lowenthal. He does like, I've seen him on ICC years ago. He was playing a lot of blitz, and he would play the Lowenthal with, how was it? A queen e7 or something. Like our last game was a Lowenthal. It was with queen f6. Ulf would play queen e7 or something weird. It's some kind of sideline, but he always, you know, he likes that because he gets in the end game, and he just outplays people. Okay, so anyway, strong player looks like we played once before. I don't recall that game. Wow, he was 1900 at the time, so he's gone up a bit. This is classical though. That was blitz. We are in main line of very sharp, modern exchange Grunfeld. Well, it's hard for me to play super strong players doing the commentary. So, like, I played a few people, but obviously it's, you know, it's like if it's like a dual commentary, that's fine. You know, if we like add a mutual disadvantage, but it's pretty much a, it would be entertaining, but I'm at a serious disadvantage if I have to commentate and the other guy doesn't. Okay, so here we go, Korchnoi. There was a game years ago in the encyclopedia or informant with, I think Korchnoi was actually white in this line. Normally I think of Korchnoi as like grabbing material, but I think it was Korchnoi Stoll, the Slovenian grandmaster, Igor Stoll. Bishop takes c3 check, bishop d2, bishop takes d2, queen takes d2, and knight a5, and then h4. It's a very, very sharp line. But this is the main line. Actually, is it the main line, or is this just bad for black now? No, this is still fine. This is main line. Years ago, I played Ilya Gurevich in this variation with white, and I lost. It was a rapid game. But Queen A5 is not the move. I think Bishop C7. Is that right? Well, no. I mean E6. Yeah, I guess E6, F4. And then for years and years they were trying to play Bishop H8 and Bishop G7. I guess against Ilya Gurevich I had F4, Bishop G7, E6, F4, Bishop G7. There's also analysis with Bishop H8. But the modern move is like F4, Bishop C7. That's supposed to be the best, the last I heard. But Queen A5 is kind of random. There was an accident with Singer Marta a while ago. An accident. He wished death to his opponent in Lichess chat. Well, I mean, I think an accident. I think that we say a lot of things like half in jest. I mean, because he said that doesn't like literally mean that he wished death on them. I mean, maybe he did. But it doesn't necessarily mean he really meant it, There are a lot of people that have really like perverse senses of humor, so I don't know this situation, but you can curse someone and say, "I wish death upon you and your family," but it doesn't really mean like you really mean it in your heart, I don't know. I told the story about how like this kid offered me a draw many years ago, and I told him that I'd rather die than have a draw. It didn't mean that I literally would rather die than have a draw with him, but that's kind of how I felt at the time. But it worked. I did win. Dramatic effect, right? Well, I don't want to play, I don't really want to let him play like B5, and my experience has been if you get the massive center with F4 and C4, you get the central pawns moving here, you're usually good. Vashamchess says, I usually face more problem in the line we played when the white player plays Queen D6 after Knight F6. Yeah, Vashamchess, I totally forgot. That's the right move. That's the main line. I'm really incompetent in the white side of the Lowenthal. It's just not a line that anybody plays in a serious game, which makes it good to a certain degree. But don't play it more than once against the same opponent. If somebody ever played it against me, I'd probably go and learn it. But it's such a kind of like semi-dubious variation that it's kind of like, is it worth your time to really learn it, for white? That's always been my argument for not learning it. Now, okay, inventive pawn sacrifice. If I open the A file, he's got a lot of play here. So we have an alternative. I just don't really want to give him the A file and all that counterplay. Maybe we can squeeze him here. Yeah, thank you, Vasham Chesto, for reminding me, because I knew there was something that I was I was forgetting. Bishop d4. I expected bishop d6 for some reason. I mean, but he's got some interesting ideas here. I could do almost anything. Castles. Well, castle's e5. I feel like I have to take on d4. This pawn is kind of weak, and he took back immediately. I mean, I have effectively two connected pass pawns here. I think that's strategically close to winning. This is, if not winning, it's close to winning on a strategic level. Plus, this is weak, which means that he might have to play e5, which means that I'd have two connected pass pawns, which is probably strategically winning. Black is treading a very, very dangerous, path. Oh boy, f5. Whoa, I can play e5 now? This is gonna be bizarre. e5. Yeah. e5, f4. This is getting really strange. He's got f4. It's getting like I need to develop. I wanted to play bishop f3 here. It may be safer than my other intention. Maybe this is better. I mean, e5 is very tempting, though. I don't know. He's also got a huge time advantage. Man, craziness. Yeah, this maybe he's got enough counterplay here. It's a really radical, really insanely radical way of playing this for black. I mean, it looks insanely dangerous, allowing these pawns, but he's got kind of like tactical ideas. Maybe enough to justify it. Yeah, Vasham chess. Queen d6 is the theoretical move. But my pawn sacrifice is interesting. I wasn't sure if that was the exact position we had last time, but it probably was. So, yeah, he's got like tactical solutions to everything. I did see this. I have to play bishop back to f3. And it's complicated. I'm going to have to play c6. My pawns are inflexible now. Still strong, but very inflexible. We need just a little time to coordinate, and I don't know if he's going to give it to me or not. Oh no. Kidding me. He's allowing me the two connected pass pawns here. With this massive trick. But how does that work? He just takes back. God. This is absurdly complicated. Wow. What do I do? Sack a piece or something? D6, D7 is not going to work. He has answer for everything. G4, just like G4. My bishop's actually protected. This is crazy. He's 1900 in blitz, 2100 classical. Can I sack a piece? I wonder. An interesting concept. Looks crazy. Why don't I take... I still have a strong pass pawn. I guess I don't really have a choice. I don't know what I was thinking about for so long. Alright, he's got 3 minutes on me. Not certain rook a3 is the best move or not. I'm lucky I'm not worse here. King d2. King d2, if I had a moment to make a move, I would have made it, but when did I have a moment to make a move? Oh, you mean like king d2 here? Yeah, maybe in retrospect, I would have seen all these tactics. I could have played more calmly. Yeah, this exchange sacrifice is good. I think he's at least equal. Theoretically. That's a pretty strong move to find. Rook takes f3. White has to be careful. Actually, both sides have to be careful here. It's pretty intense. Maybe I could play rook takes. I didn't like the look of dropping my a pawn. Guys, we're going to be streaming till 12:30, so we have time for another game. Maybe 2, depending on the time control. We'll be back tomorrow, and I will upload this stream to YouTube. Video chess training on YouTube. Scotty Pippen's here. Wow, you guys got some serious commentary questions in the stream. Okay, good move. He's played king f7. That's a brilliancy. That's a brilliancy right there. Not giving me time to play. Not giving me time to play rook e7. That's an extremely strong move to find. So this is very awkward now for white. d3 wasn't what I expected. Maybe I should play king e3 last move, rather than pull my rook back. No, that allows bishop d5. It's a very complicated position, guys. Black has full compensation for the exchange. I feel like white's on the defensive. Maybe I could give the pawn back and sack the exchange and draw a rook ending, but it's a little touch and go. I mean, I could easily be worse in a rook ending where I give the exchange back. So not really sure what to do here. Just trying to free my rook, basically. I think I'm winning now. But I was really, really lucky. We were not lost, but we were on the worst end of this draw. I mean, if it is a draw, it's possible that I'm clearly worse. Chesso Turco and Romero. Chesso Turco, do you have an established rating? Okay, because I do require that. So guys, I don't know. It depends on how long this game is. It may be the last game, 20 minutes. Sometimes the games are that long, so we'll see. I don't want to play like way over time. Spinal Tap is online. Haven't seen him in the stream though. You stick around to the ending before my studying for my final later today. Chesso Turco from Turkey. Or no, you're Finnish. Is that Turkish or Finnish? Turkish. Is that Turkish or Finnish? Turksy. What does that mean? That means Turkish? I'm so ignorant with languages. But Turkish doesn't have like an umlaut in the letters, does it? Does that mean? I'm confused. Now you have to be a subscriber to access his past broadcasts. What are you talking about? Turkish. Okay, I didn't know it had an umlaut in it. That looks so weird. Really, in Turkish uses umlaut? Knight c6. Swami, of course. I'm thrown by that though. Like that. The umlaut over the U? I'm sure the Turkish don't use that, do they? Yeah. Swami is Finnish. I feel like an idiot. Alright, so knight c6, they like to do this to get like a reverse pierce. So if you do face that, d4 is the strongest move. It's a kind of Chigorin. I mean, I think if I want to claim any opening advantage, I kind of have to play d4. So we have g3 against the Chigorin, which objectively should be okay for black. I certainly play this a lot, playing the King's Indian. Certain players, when I'm playing black, are like d4, and then sometimes later knight c3. You can play a kind of Hebden attack, or the Barry attack with like bishop f5, a tempo down. I'm not sure how dangerous it is to play the Barry attack, a tempo down, but or bishop g4 maybe. Interesting to view the stream and replay. Well, yeah, I mean, if you know, sometimes I say some variations maybe for some of the beginning players that are just way too fast. I did that in the beginning. I was talking about one variation in the line with like e4, c5, a3. Maybe the first game today, where I started to sort of spout out this long line about like another line that was similar. And if you want to go back and replay it, you know, you can kind of slow down and see what I was talking about maybe. So the replays are useful. So it is a Barry attack with tempo down. Favorite of well, it's a nasty variation to face if you're not prepared and you have a tempo less. But here I'm white, you know, so it's not really dangerous for me. As always, when you fianchetto your king's bishop, King's Indian style, in general your king's side is pretty solid. The game against Diovin just was decided by time, essentially. Diovin got in time pressure and blundered at the end. But, I mean, I think that it was actually a pretty inventive game by black. And what looked like a bad position, he just kept finding, like, dynamic resources. And he was probably better after sacking the exchange. But then just kind of, like, fell apart with no time. I don't feel particularly like I played a great game. Guys, we're going to be streaming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then no streams on the weekend for the holiday. Then the next week, same thing. Weekday streams, a lot of blitz and classical chess coming up in the end of the month here. Normally I do simuls on Sundays, but we have New Year's and Christmas and everything, so I'm not going to be doing any simuls. Lance is here. Yeah, it was a funny game. I like that. He played an offbeat line with, Queen A5 is not supposed to be good, but I'm not sure, how bad it is actually, what happened when he did B5. He was very cagey and combative, and I was like kind of shying away from complications. But like, who was it? Railbird80 suggested like I make like one like consolatory move, like King D2 instead of C5, and maybe I can keep like a really slight advantage, but a really lasting slight advantage if I play like a little bit less aggressive move early on there. Of course, the computer will probably find some kind of way I could have gotten an edge, but it's hard to calculate everything there. So I played C4. A lot of times I'll get this position in different order of moves, similar positions. I saw a game at the in the summertime. I saw Hungarian Grandmaster Banus play a similar position with white, and he didn't really get that much. I think it was against Ivanisevic. Banus Ivanisevic in Zalakaros 2016. Ivanisevic plays some kind of funky openings sometimes, and he was black in a position like this, and Banus didn't really figure out like how to get anything going, and it was a draw. But those guys are both 2600s. I expected Banus to get an advantage out of the opening, but he couldn't pull it out. Well, here we have, B3 maybe, but it's kind of passive, so I prefer knight to C3. I don't remember what Banus did. Like, maybe he traded on D5? That seems to release the tension pretty early. On the other hand, I'm not sure what choices white really has here. The pawn is kind of hanging at this point. This is a non-standard way of meeting the Catalan for black, basically, with a knight on c6. I could play like queen to a4, perhaps, if I want to keep the tension. Queen a4, but then maybe a6 or something. It doesn't. I'm not sure about this. Queen a4 and rook d1. Rook d1 is my retreat square, though. Queen a4, maybe bishop g5. Queen a4, a6, like bishop g5. Just a way of keeping the tension without releasing this. Theoretically, I have an advantage in the center, and I'm not supposed to necessarily exchange pawns that might help black. I'd rather he would take on c4, give up his strong point in the center. And I have more space, so I have more waiting moves than black does in this kind of position. like in a queen's gambit or something. But I don't think that c takes d is a really bad move, but just trying to find something more incisive. We did a6. There's also the strange move there, like knight to b4. It doesn't really look right though. So now I figured, okay, he's gonna like take on c4, take on c4, I take, and then he can play like knight a5, queen a4, I think bishop g5. Okay, I'm inviting knight e4. There's also bishop f4 here. Bishop g5, knight e4, bishop takes e7. I don't know what my queen is doing now on a4. I feel a little bit weird about playing this move. Not sure what it really does. Maybe we should exchange on d5. Maybe we should have exchanged on d5 after all. I don't know. Bishop f4 sometimes gets hit by like knight to d5 after d takes c. Bishop g5, knight e4. He's trading pieces. Although maybe I have a small advantage there. It doesn't look like a whole lot. I mean, queen a4 may just have been a kind of relatively useless move. I just thought that I could try to keep the tension, but objectively, I'm putting my queen in kind of a awkward position. It's even possibly out of play relative to the center. So I'm not real sure this was a great idea. Okay, he's taking my advice here. I think I have to trade on e7. I don't want to take on e4. I mean, I'm certainly not worse. He can take probably either way on e7. White has a tiny advantage maybe, but black is still solid. Somebody sending me a belated happy birthday, hopefully on my phone. My birthday was yesterday, guys, so please send money in lieu of presents. You can donate for my birthday. Knight takes e7. By the way, if you guys want to donate via PayPal, not for my birthday, but toward the chess stream and toward the YouTube channel, feel free to do so. I much appreciate it. The link is in the Twitch stream and on YouTube. Video chess training on YouTube. But anyway, if you guys just want to say happy birthday, that's cool too. It's over now. Knight takes e7. But feel free just to send a nice message on Lichess. Knight takes e7. A little passive. So I think we have something. Which rook? Kind of a tough call. The A rook. Is the A rook going to do anything from A1? Or B1 for that matter? How about knight h4? Always a bad square for the knight. But this particular position, it really livens up my g2 bishop. What's up with this knight h4? It's kind of awkward. I think knight h4, knight takes e3, and then like bishop g4. What's my knight doing on h4? It doesn't strike me as right. Just like rook c1. What about, yeah, rook c1? Wasting too much time. All right. We have infinitesimal advantage here. It's not much. Closed position. One piece is off the board already. I mean, I don't think that I have much. But if I had to choose a side, I'd rather be white. Happy birthday. Send me a package of money. No, just kidding, guys. So, another game where the time control just flies by. I think at this point, you know, keeping the tension is a thing of the past. Now b6 starts to weaken the queen side. I think this is a good... I'm happy to see that, really. I'm not sure why Black played b6. Seems like a strange decision. We're definitely better now. How much better is the real question. Alright, I'm running out of time. I don't know. We got play on the c file. And the c6 square is weak. So we can just kind of occupy that. We have a little bit better development. Okay, well, it's probably going to come down to like Black just losing on time in a slightly worse position. It's... The b6 is the only really bad move. Maybe, you know, if he does something else there, it's going to be very hard for me to break through. If he plays a kind of Slav pawn structure, I imagine it's going to be very, very hard for me to break it down. Okay, so now b5. We got queen a5. Looks good. Other moves are possible too. Queen d6, quick snappy move. Guess we'll double up here. Is this good? Is it a mistake to play rook c6? Goodness. Maybe. I don't know, I'm like panicking. If he goes queen b4, then I have to trade queens. I had rook takes, no. Yeah, queen b4 was kind of awkward there. Now I have to trade. Very good ending for white. Okay, he's kind of quick. He's not going to lose on time so easily. Maybe this is defensible for Black. It's pretty unpleasant. But it's not resignable. I mean, Black might be able to hold on here. I think I'm going to wrap it up for today, guys. It's almost 12:30, so no time for another serious game. I'm sorry Scheveningen just showed up, and he's a tough player. Drummer was waiting for a game. Hopefully tomorrow we're going to get to... Scheveningen is always late. But he'll be late to his own wedding. The drummer is just missing the cut here. Anyway, guys, I'm going to close it down for today. It was fun, and it was good to be back. I've been away for like 11 days, and sorry I can't get to more games, but got other pressing stuff I've got to get back to. Since I've been away for so long, I've left a lot of things kind of hanging. Literally. A good chess term, but it was fun. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I much appreciate it. We'll be streaming all the weekdays and then taking the weekend off for the holidays. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.